Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth update for my Doctor Who rewatch challenge. I'm currently rewatching Doctor Who from the first season from 2005 up until now, one episode a day. I share my progress on Twitter if you want to follow me, @Sandrine, shameless plug. I've done 3 previous updates. If you've missed them, I'll put the link in the description so you can watch them. So I will be sharing my thoughts and experience rewatching season 4 of Doctor Who, including the David Tennant special, the Final 4 special that he did. And quick spoiler alert, if you're not up to date with Doctor Who, I will be sharing my thoughts knowing everything that happens up until now. So yeah, you've been warned. So let's do it. Season 4 is the final season of David Tennant. He's my favorite Doctor, so of course I'm really sad that it's over, but rewatching all the episodes really made me fall in love with him all over again. It was amazing, and this season is also Donna's season, and she's wonderful, so that was amazing as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share the episodes that really stood out to me, or just moments that really stood out to me from them, starting with the Christmas episode, Voyage of the Damned, which stars Kylie Minogue and also has the famous line, "Allons-y, Alonzo." I love how they set this up in season 2, and so when he's asking Alonzo, what's your name? And he's like, Alonzo. And you see the Doctor's face who's like,
Are you serious? I've been wanting to say this my whole life.
It's just such a small moment, but it's just so brilliant. I love it. And then we move on to the season premiere, Partners in Crime, in which Donna has been trying to find a doctor, which that scene when they're like finally see each other across the window and they're miming each other, they're like, and then finally they realize that the other people have noticed that they were talking to each other and they're like, and then the adipose, those little adipose, I always felt them really cute. I know technically they're fat, but they're adorable. How can you like, I should get my own little adipose. I think they have some that you can like squish, you know, in your hand and just like, they have a lot of adipose merch, so I should probably look into getting one. Not that I need more Doctor Who stuff, but you know, we can never have enough. Episode 2 is The Fires of Pompeii, starring Peter Capaldi, who ends up being the 12th Doctor. It's so weird seeing him in this episode. And this episode also stars Karen Gillan, who becomes the next companion in season 5. So, you know, it comes full circle. Episode 3, Planet of the Ood. I love the Ood so much. So much. They're just like the sweetest creatures. I think Donna says it best. They hold their brain in their hands because they're so trustworthy and they're not violent, that they're just like, you know, we believe that we don't need to hide it anywhere. So much. Episode 5 is The Poison Sky. It's part 2 of the Sontaran episode. I just want to mention that one because there's a fun wink at season 1 where the Doctor puts on the gas mask and says, "Are you my mummy?" Episode 6 is the Doctor's daughter, and I'm mentioning this because Gendry is in it! For Game of Thrones fans. I know that's not his real name. His real name is Joe Dancy. For me, he was Chris from Skins first. But now he's Gendry, who's still rowing. Not for long, though. Episode 8, Silence in the Library. First time the Doctor says spoilers. And first time we meet River Song. Oh, and Josh Dallas, Prince Charming in Once Upon a Time, also stars as one of the faces in the library. Episode 9 is part 2 of Silence in the Library. It's called Forest of the Dead. And I don't think I realized how big of a deal this episode was. I mean, there's so many things that it relates to. There's so much happening. And it kind of came full circle after the Christmas episode from 2015, The Husbands of River Song. We start with one of the guys telling River and the Doctor that they're squabbling like an old married couple. And you're like, 'cause they are. I mean, he doesn't know it, but, you know, they are. And then River talks about the last time that she saw their doctor before this time. And I just gotta read her line because when I was listening to it, my jaw was literally dropping because I hadn't realized until now what she was talking about. She talks about last time we saw each other, you took me to Darillium to see the singing towers. What a night that was. The towers sang and you cried. You wouldn't tell me why, but I suppose you knew it was time. My time. Time to come to the library. You even gave me your screwdriver. That should have been a clue. And we've actually now seen that night. That night that happens at the end of the Christmas episode called The Husbands of River Song, in which the Doctor does bring River Song to Darilium and the Singing Towers for one last night together. And we soon find out that that last night actually lasts 24 years. And that's where he gives her his screwdriver. I almost want to go and watch that Christmas episode and then come back and rewatch Forest of the Dead. And even more than that, you realize that when she dies, the Doctor actually prepares a plan to save her all these years until he finally takes her to the towers. And that's why he gives her the screwdriver, so she's not really dead. She's just put in a data call with everyone else on her team. So, it's just, Doctor Who, you're just... Episode 10 is Midnight. One of the scariest episodes, if I'm being honest, because if you think about it, the Doctor wasn't able to save the day. He was literally about to die, and the flight attendant realized that something was wrong and she sacrificed herself for him, but he was completely paralyzed by this thing, and the only thing that saved him is his catchphrases, or the things he said, you know, allons-y, molto bene. And she's like, wait a minute, why would she steal his voice? This episode, like, literally, I have chills. I literally have chills because this episode is so crazy. Episode 13 is Journey's End. It's the conclusion of the crossover, and it was so much fun to see Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures all mixed up into one, which actually makes me want to rewatch Torchwood after I'm done with rewatching Doctor Who. I love that the Doctor and Rose acknowledged that they had actually met Gwen's ancestor at some point because the actress Eve Miles starred in Doctor Who in season 1, so they're like, you seem familiar. Have I seen you before? And of course, we get a second Doctor who is part human, and we get Donna, who is part Time Lord, which is so much fun to watch, but at the same time is heartbreaking because that means she has to forget the Doctor and everything they ever did together. So it's really sad. But on the other hand, having a second Doctor means that Rose gets to have her happy ending because he goes with her. He is a Doctor. He's a little more violent than the Doctor, but he's still the Doctor and he's half human. So that means she can have him grow old with her, which is like the best gift that he could have given her. And then we move on to the David Tennant specials, the final specials that we'll ever get with him. Actually, that's not true because he's coming back for the 50th anniversary specials. All three were really fun, but I really want to talk about the final special, End of Time, which is a two-parter, which features the return of the Master, poor Master, who turns out he was just a pawn to the Time Lords in order to bring them back to life. So his whole life he had those drums in his head and it made him mad. And that's just because they really didn't care about him and the Doctor really did. And in a way, I think he tried to make amends for some things he did at the end when he sacrificed himself or you know, it was part revenge, part making amends. Whatever it was, he saved the day eventually. But then he will knock 4 times. And that is the most heartbreaking sound. Because the whole time that they say he will knock 4 times, you're thinking it's the Master, it's a Time Lord, it's some creepy beast, I don't know, it's something terrible. In a way, it's sort of beautiful because the end of the Doctor is not some creature, some alien that comes and kills him, or it's not another Time Lord that comes and kills him. It's the Doctor being so good that he will give his life, at least one of his regeneration, to save Wilfred. For me, this is where you see how brilliant David Tennant is because he goes through so many emotions, you know, the emotion of anger at Wilfred for being so stupid, for going in there and getting himself locked up in there because he knows he has to get him out, even though, you know, he's like, I could just leave you in there. You're just one person. I am just so much bigger than you. But I can't. And he knows he can't. And that's why he's so mad. He's so mad because he has to give himself up. He has to die. And I think it's one of the most beautiful endings of the Doctor. I mean, David Tennant's just obviously I love him. And he gets to say one final goodbye to everyone that he had met during his travels. So we get Mickey and Martha and Rose and Donna, which is really sad because Donna still doesn't remember him, and Jack Harkness and Sarah Jane. And then we finally get the iconic line, "I don't want to go." I get so emotional just thinking about it. Like literally tears in my eyes. It just, oh God. This show really gets to me. It's goodbye to David Tennant, but then we get Matt Smith, who I have to say, even though David Tennant is my favorite Doctor, Matt Smith is like this close. I mean, I adore him too. It's just so hard to pick, but it's like just a slight for me. It's still David Tennant, but I adore Matt Smith too, so I'm really excited to get to season 5 with him. Wow, I think that was a long one. As you can tell, I'm pretty obsessed with this show, and I'm pretty obsessed with David Tennant, so, you know, I had to take the time to kind of go through all of these emotions. Of course, I would love to hear any thoughts you have on season 4. Do you love it as much as I did? Do you love David Tennant as much as I did? Did you not want him to go either? Let me know in the comments. And there you go. I am so ready for Matt Smith. Actually, technically, I've already started watching Matt Smith because by the time I recorded this, the challenge doesn't stop. You know, it keeps going every day, new episodes. So I've already watched a few episodes for Matt Smith. So I'll have my season 5 review up very soon. And that's it. That's it. I'm drained. I have nothing left to give right now. I need to go lay down.